Welcome back, Swifties, and perhaps some national fans. This has been... It was requested recently on Big Red Machine video, I think. I can already see this is filmed or recorded at Long Pond, I expect. The Alcott. What is an Alcott? What is the Alcott? Don't know. But it's featuring Taylor Swift, so let's check it out.
Get myself twisted in threads to meet you at the Alcott.
I've just recognised this dude, and was there a documentary about the National? And did his brother film it or something? I've got vague recollection of seeing that years ago. Am I confusing it with something else, or was that it?
Get myself twisted in threads to meet you at the Alcott.
Nice tone to his voice, isn't it?
I go to the corner in the back where you'd always be.
Those low bits are great.
And there you are, sitting as usual with your golden notebook, writing something about someone who used to be me.
That's a great image, isn't it? Writing something about someone who used to be me. Because we change, don't we? You know, we all change when you think about it. We're all different people all through our lives, and that's okay, so long as you remember all the people you used to be. Doctor Who fans might recognise me plagiarising Matt Smith's final words as the Doctor. But the question, I suppose, is: do we change for the better? Do we change for the worse? Changing and growing together for the better is optimal, isn't it? But in this sort of chaotic universe of life that we live, there's often, well, it's often a mess, isn't it, you know?
There you are, sitting as usual with your golden notebook, writing something about someone who used to be me.
There's touches of like Leonard Cohen, isn't there, you know, or Tom Waits.
And the last thing you wanted is the first thing I do. I tell you my problems, you tell me the truth. It's the last thing you wanted, it's the first thing I do. I tell you that I think I'm falling back in love with you.
Interesting, man. Interesting. This has got a kind of I don't know what it is, like a Christmas vibe to it or something, you know, the winter or festiveness anyway. But the lyrics are cool, aren't they, man? They're food for thought, you know. I tell you my problems, you tell me the truth. If you're lucky, you're going to have friends like that, aren't you, you know, who tell you inconvenient truths. Tell you when you've been a moron. I could have done with a lot more of that, I suppose, you know. Interesting to think about. Because as you get older, you know, your friends, even the good ones, seem to slip away or fade away, don't they? You know, as life's complex web, you know, drags everyone down into I say routine, but into responsibilities, you know, and necessary ones, unnecessary ones, good ones, bad ones, and just time ticks on, doesn't it, man? Much faster as you get older. But something I'm always, I guess, battling with. But yeah.
I sit there silently waiting for you to look up.
And actually, just going back to that last line, I mean, there's a humour in there as well, isn't there? In my response, anyway.
I tell you that I think I'm falling back in love with you.
So, like in this bit, it would be obviously. This is like about a couple that are apart or fell apart or whatever it is. But then to say that, you know, I'm falling back in love with you, it's like, off, right? You know, come on, man. Don't need this shit. Don't bring me back there, man.
I sit there silently waiting for you to look up. I see you smile when you see it's me.
Smiling at a memory, right?
Something to break into your golden thinking. How many times will I do this and you'll still believe?
Only so many.
The last thing you want.
Only so many, and you know, hopefully you're going to get tired of your own bullshit before everyone else does, right? And you got to change your ways, man. You got to be better and do better and be consistent, you know, and be true to your word and all that, you know, because that's the only way to move forward effectively in life, you know, because you're just trying to bargain. No, you're trying to manipulate with reality otherwise, right? And you're not going to win. You're not going to win. So you can bargain, I suppose, with reality by making sacrifices in the present to make the future better. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. So far, right now, to me, anyway.
It's the first thing you do.
Give me some tips to forget you.
You tell me your problem,
Come on, your problem.
and I tell you the truth.
Could it be easy this one?
It's the last thing you wanted.
It's mine is a land.
It's the first thing I do.
Do my love and abet you.
I tell you that I think I'm falling back in love with you, and I'll ruin it all over. I'll ruin it for you. I'll ruin it all over and over like I always do.
I can. He's ruining whatever he's ruining, as people do. But really, the reason I think I've worked out the reason why that happens, it's an ego thing, right? And if you're ruining it over and over again with someone you really care about, it's because you don't care about them enough. It may seem like you care about them enough, but ultimately you care about yourself more, right? Because it's your behaviours that are messing things up. But if this person was more important than you, if you cared about them more, then I guess you wouldn't do that. People make mistakes, right? You know, little ones, big ones, whatever. But to consistently mess things up, but it's the ego, isn't it? You know, you're too in love with yourself, even if you sometimes maybe feel you hate yourself or whatever it is. But it's going back to the Peter Pan idea as well, isn't it? It's a Peter Pan syndrome because it's remaining juvenile, remaining impulsive and compulsive and hedonistic or whatever, you know. And I've heard it said, you know, you can't grow up until somebody in your life is more important to you than you are. And I guess that's a scary responsibility to take on, isn't it? And apparently that usually happens to people when they have kids, but it can also, be a significant other, a sick parent or something maybe. But yeah, I guess you can't be. Correct me if I'm wrong, or let me know what you think. But can you really be a grown up? Unless somebody is more important to you than you are, like really. And the wonderful thing I'm discovering now is that I think I've got a person in my life that is more important. Their well-being feels more important than my own well-being. It's scary to begin with, that responsibility, and the way I had lived my life up until recently. It doesn't want to let go, because it didn't want to let go, because it's like a metaphorical death, isn't it? And you've got to discard with the parts of the juvenile parts of your personality that no longer serve you, But it's painful because those bits of you don't want to go, They don't want to cease to exist, but cease to exist they must, so you can move forward. But the wonderful thing about it is if you can get that right and support each other, and that symbiosis and sort of coming together, weaving together can occur, and your growth together and your exploration together of life. I think because I had such strong dreams that, of course, or things that I wanted to achieve, that of course I have made a mess of, in one way or another for like most of my life. So it's obviously not been working out very well on my own. But I had this reluctance to think that if somebody was more important to me than I am, then those things, those dreams that I wasn't even achieving anyway, would have to die or fall by the wayside, But ironically, is that the right word? I'm not sure. Wonderfully, certainly, now I can feel this thing building between us, and the support and the love I get from her. I think that the chances of me achieving those things that I wanted before have just gone through the roof, And yeah, a bit of a digression there. That's what you're here for, right, though? You're here for the Taylor Swift, but also my digressions. Let's take it back a few secs.
Shred my evening gown, read my sentence out loud, 'cause I love this curse on our house.
It's the last thing I wanted.
Tell me which side are you on?
It's the first thing I do.
Give me some tips to forget you.
This is cool, isn't it? Because it's obviously the back and the forth, or the separate thoughts that are happening concurrently between two lovers or two former lovers. But this kind of feels like, the voices in your head, when how can you sound any more crazy is talking about the voices in your head? But like just that, because I've done a lot of bouncing around in my head for most of my life, and I never realised that I never felt calm, not as a child, not as an adolescent, not as an adult, and I didn't. Unless I was smoking or drinking or whatever, those are the brief moments that sort of leveled me out and made it okay to function. But it's only now, that I've found real peace, man, real calmness, that with this wonderful woman that I'm with, what's my point? Anyway, that I feel singular now, and there's other aspects to that, you know, looking after yourself, you know, diet, supplements. I find intermittent fasting great, exercise, cold exposure, all that stuff, you know, it all plays in, doesn't it, you know, to mental health, I guess, you know. And I never really realised that I had any mental health issues at all, you know, because that's just how I always was, you know, and probably how a lot of the people around me were. But the further, I suppose, I get away from that, the more I look at it and think, it was a mess for quite a while there, is.
I tell you my problem.
Comes on your problem.
It's nice swirling, this, isn't it?
Could it be easy this one?
It's the last thing I wanted.
This mine is a limit.
It's the first thing I do.
Did my love and abet you?
I tell you that I think I'm falling back in love, back in love with you.
Did my love aid and abet you? That's a cool line as well, isn't it? Cool thought. Is it possible for that to be real love, you know? What is real love? It's certainly something I think I've misunderstood. It's a term or a word very easily thrown around, isn't it, you know, but what does it actually mean?
Back in love with you.
Yeah, nice little track, that one, The National. What else have they got, you know, what's their big tunes, you know, worth checking out? Maybe I'll check out one or two of those. But yeah, nice. It captured nicely the sort of morose nature of, well, what he was trying to express, what he'd been going through, you know. Cool stuff. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me very much. Look after yourselves. Love to you. I'll see you next time.